We now move on to week 2 of the 2024 Pacific Championships. Last week, I got both winners correct. That was Australia against Tonga and Papua New Guinea against Fiji. This week, I'm going to go through the team list again that have been announced, talk about the game, and give you my predictions. So let's get started with the first game of this week. Kicking things off with Fiji, starting in the backs, we have Sonia Taruva, Micah Sivo, Michael Jennings, Wanga Blake, Semi Valame, Kevin Nagama, and Kurt Donoghue. In the forwards is Tui Kamikamitha, James Valavatu, Ben Nakabue, Viliami Kikau, Tane Milne, and Caleb Navale. On the bench is Penioni Tagetuamua, Kitioni Kautoga, Kylan Mafoa, and Jordan Miller. And in the reserves is Ratu Ranakama, Ronald Filatoga, Nathan King, and Joe Lavadua. Moving on to the Cook Islands squad, in the backs they have Asa Mayoka, Stephen Masters, Ruben Rennie, Delahia Wigmore, Rickson Andrew, Brad Tekurangi, and Eason Masters. In the forwards is Tepe Maroa, Rua Ngatakara, David Moale, Zane Tetavano, Ruben Porter, and Pride Peterson Rabati. On the bench is Kobe Torero, Mason Teague, Justin McCreary, and Junior Taroy. In the reserves is Reece Dakin, Malachi Morgan, Makesi Makatoa, and Alex Glenn. Starting with Fiji, not too many changes from last week. There's only 3. There's only so many changes you can make, and this is about as good as a squad is going to get. Now, they do need to keep up their intensity from last week. That's one thing I was very impressed with. The intensity in the forwards was excellent. The intensity running the ball in attack was also excellent. Kamikamitha, man of the match on the side of Fiji. I think him, Nakabue, Navale, Tane Milne, even Lavadua, Tagetuamua, Sonia Taruva as well, made really good meters through the middle. That was the best part of their game. The way that they dominated in the middle was excellent because they lost the field position battle from kicking and errors that they kept making and penalties that they gave away, but they actually made up for it by how many meters they made through the middle. So they kind of survived that a little bit because it could have got really ugly. But if they cleaned up the game a bit, they would have been in much better positions a lot more of the time. So there's one element, is their ability to beat PNG through the middle on a lot of occasions. The next thing was their attacking speed. It was excellent to watch. Like, the speed in which they played with was just on a completely different level to most clubs. That's why I love internationals, that's why I love test matches, because teams, they just switch it on. They play at a different pace because there isn't really a structure that they're used to. They know that they have to play with pace over maybe precision on some occasions. My biggest issue with that is the execution was pretty poor. Now, taking nothing away from PNG's defence, because they made really good decisions in terms of when to jam and who to jam into. Defensively, PNG were good, but it was a lot of the same stuff from Fiji. It was short side left to Donoghue, either a chip kick into the back left corner, a chip over the top, or it's out the back to Taruva. The same shapes, the exact same shapes, with Donoghue as first receiver and out the back. It's not even changing the shapes a little bit at all to kind of account for the obvious ease that PNG is having defensively. You've got to do something different. Change the shapes a little bit. Change the depth. Change the width. Do something different. And the problem is, in terms of structured plays, they had very little going down the right. So, as it relates to Cook Islands, against what we've seen from Fiji so far, I think Cook Islands can really take advantage through the middle. Now, as good as Fiji were, they allowed a lot of meters. They lost a lot of dominance in the tackles, allowed quick play the balls, and allowed PNG to get a lot of easy meters through the middle. Cook Islands can feed off that and can make easy meters as well. I think also, if they get a lot of pressure into Donoghue, as he's typically going to be the first receiver, they get a lot of pressure into Viliami Kikau, they take a lot of their desired attack away. Because as I said, they're not really going to have many structured plays going right with Kevin Nagama as the number 6. And then with Wanga Blake and Semi Valame. They're not really going to have much luck going on the right-hand side, I don't think, just based on structured plays only. Unless Donoghue decides to play a bit more on the right-hand side and they switch it up. We'll see. But I think Cook Islands can beat them through the middle, and they've just got to keep jamming into Donoghue and kick out, not give them much time with the ball. Goal line defence from Fiji was amazing last week. Hopefully Cook Islands can do the same as well. PNG did it, Fiji did it. Can the Cook Islands do it? We will see. what I think it's going to take from the Cook Islands is, I don't know if they're going to be able to open up Fiji from structured plays in the red zone. I don't think they're going to be able to do that, because this back line that Fiji poses, I think is going to be too strong. So for me, the way that I see this going is that Masters and Takirangi, they need to be looking at, can we bring Sunny Taruva into the line? So when we're right in front of Fiji's line, can we bring him into the line? Can we get him out of position on the wrong side of the ruck? Is Kikau, is Tane Milne, Valame, Jennings, whoever, anyone in that back line, are they stepping out a little bit too much? Are they not anticipating a kick through? Can we get a little kick in behind with Sunny Taruva out of position? I think that's going to be their best bet. I don't think the structured plays are really going to allow them to open up this Fiji Bati team. It's going to be kicks in behind. There's a couple times they got caught out against PNG. So if you can just see who's taking the bait, get that kicking behind, get that second rower, that centre making that darting run inwards into the in-goal area, I think there's points available for the Cook Islands. So for me, can Fiji keep up the intensity in attack but execute better? Can they keep the meters going through the middle? Can the Cook Islands match them through the middle as well? Cook Islands, I think, because they can't offer as much quality, sort of like pound for pound against Fiji, they need to be more disciplined. Fiji do also need to be more disciplined and better, or fewer errors than last time out. And I think they will improve in that department. And they've had more time together now at this point. And I think Donahue especially, relatively young and inexperienced, is going to learn a lot from last week and control the game a little bit better, and Fiji will have a little bit more of a plan with what they want to do, especially down the right-hand side, as they really need to open up that channel with some quality. So with all that being said, I'm going to go with Fiji 26, Cook Islands 14. Next up, we have New Zealand taking on Australia, starting with the team list of New Zealand. In the backs, they have Keanu Kinney, Jermaine Asako, Matthew Timoko, Peter Hiku, Will Warbrick, Chance Nicol-Klokstad, and Sean Johnson. In the forwards is James Fisher-Harris, Phoenix Crosland, Griffin Neame, Isaiah Papali'i, Scott Sorensen, and Joseph Tarpany. On the bench is Cody Nikarima, Naufahu White, Murata Niokore, and Jordan Ricky. In the reserves is Erin Clark, Trent Tolau, Casey McLean, and 21 is currently unnamed. Moving on to Australia, and starting in the backs, they have Dylan Edwards, Xavier Coates, Hamiso Tabai-Fidau, Tom Trebojevic, Zach Lomax, Tom Dearden, and Mitchell Moses. In the forwards is Patrick Carrigan, Harry Grant, Lindsay Collins, Angus Crichton, Cameron Murray, and Isaiah Yeo. On the bench is Matt Burton, Mitch Barnett, Ruben Cotter, and Hudson Young. In the reserves is Ben Hunt, Lindsay Smith, Bradman Best, and Reece Robson. For this game, I'm a little bit unsure about a lot of areas here. When it comes to big matchups, there's a lot of specific points that you can look at with certainty based on the evidence that they've shown in certain areas throughout the course of a season. Because we've only seen Australia so far for this matchup, I think there's a lot of question marks here. There's a lot of question marks. So I'll try and go through my thoughts a little bit and hopefully make it clear. One of my first question marks is the battle in the centres. Because I like Timoko and I like Peter Hiku, but against Tabai-Fidau and Tom Trebojevic, if Australia's getting a roll on through the middle, if they're winning that battle in the middle, Moses and Dearden are going to feed off that. They're going to link up with Tabai-Fidau and Tom Trebojevic, and I think they can make it a very long day for Timoko and Hiku. I think it could be a really, really long day for them. However, in regards to Australia picking up steam through the middle, I don't know if their forward pack's big enough. Now, they've got a lot of locks in there. They've got 4 recognised locks in Carrigan, Murray, Yeo, and Cotter, who really feed off quick play of the balls. And I think some of those guys, like Murray and Angus Crichton, for example, when you're attacking the edges, you're spreading the ball, you're getting leverage on the outside, you can make good meters. So Crichton and Murray in that regard I think should be fine. But when they have to make carries through the middle, direct runs, I'm not sure they're going to be able to offer enough meters and post-contact meters and quicker play the balls. Australia, I feel, have to get quick play the balls, or New Zealand will put them in a chokehold. So if they do get quick play the balls, players like Carrigan Murray, Cotter when he comes on will feed off that. And if that defensive line of New Zealand is out of shape, they'll punish them for it. They really, really will. Harry Grant especially. Believe me, if your defensive line's out of shape, Harry Grant will make sure you know about it. Because he's just meticulous at this stuff. He's ridiculously good at just putting pressure in the right areas. Oh, he's brilliant. I absolutely love him as a number 9. But my biggest concern for Australia is the size of the pack. It's just the size of the pack. If they don't get the quick play of the balls, they'll be put in a chokehold. And then up steps Sean Johnson, who will spot this, and he'll keep pumping those kicks into the back left corners, back right corners, pinning them back, receiving the ball in better field position. Your classic back and forth rugby league, building up field position every time. Very basic in that regard. But Sean Johnson won't care. He'll play the most basic game of rugby league if it's going to win them the game. And I think off the back of that, I think New Zealand could be in a lot of really good field position a lot of the time. And I think can get a lot of leverage on Australia that way. However, I do think with how in the NRL they do like to spread the ball earlier in the tackle count a lot, I think Australia's going to go at them on the edges more. Because I think they'll lose through the middle, they'll attack the edges more, and I think they'll find a lot of meters and a lot of success there. So that plan of trying to pin Australia back will only work so long until they get the edges involved. I think Australia will eat up those meters, and I think it'll put themselves back in the fight. And I think when they get in good field position, I'm taking Australia's back line over New Zealand's back line, in attack and in defence. So the scoreline for me is close, but I think Australia has enough, based on personnel in all areas, and what they can provide to get out of any sort of traps that New Zealand can put them in. I think Australia should be good enough in this one. So I'm going to go with New Zealand 18, Australia 26. So that is going to be it for this predictions video. If you do have your own, please let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. It really just helps get the video out there to more people. And subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more rugby league content. But that is going to be it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.